Okay, we're in business. Now you can type your name. And then, have you guys already shared your prayer requests? Did I miss out? No. Nuts! I was hoping. Okay, well, what I was thinking is maybe, Dan, if you could pray for everyone today. Is there anyone that has any prayer requests?
I have a Thanksgiving po.
Sige.
So, yung kapatid ko, yung pinag-pray natin last time, nakuha na siya sa trabaho. She got her work na. Yeah!
Oh, praise the Lord.
Meron nang lilibre sa Jollibee.
Question ka mo sa'yo. May mini types ka.
Sabi, nag-pray kami ah.
Share naman, nag-pray kami.
Antayin niyo sa Lazada yung burger.
Baka naman.
Okay, does anyone have any other prayer requests or Thanksgivings? Sige, Dan.
Updates po sa kay Attorney Egypt. Dinala na po siya sa hospital kagabi.
Sino?
Yung... wala ka po pala last time sa yesterday. Sinare ko po dito sa NTAC, Miss Rachel po pala yung nandito kasi. May attorney, may church member po kami na isang attorney na nag-positive sa COVID. And then yung mga relatives niya, 3 of them may symptoms. So, and then yung isa sa church member din namin, so nakasama yung attorney na yun, so nasa-quarantine siya. So, ang confirmed pa lang na positive is yung attorney. So, yan yung sinare ko kahapon na nasa-self-quarantine. And then, last night, dinala na siya sa ospital. So, please pray na yung healing niya maging maayos na kasi nahirapan siya humingi. Tapos yun, yung fever niya din. Tapos yung naman, updates naman doon sa mga relatives niya. Ganun pa rin. Wala na yung fever pero wala pa rin silang panlasa.
Okay, is there anything else that we should be praying for? This is your chance. Okay, if there isn't, we should get started on our class soon. So Dan, could you pray for us?
Okay, let's pray. Panginoon, kami po'y magpapasalamat muli sa week na to. Another opportunity na naman na kami po'y mag-aaral mula po sa iyong salita, mula po sa music na iyong binigay, pinagkatawagan po sa amin. Ang goal po talaga namin dito is ma-train kami na paano namin magagamit ang music na iyo pong pinagkatiwala sa amin. Makalulugod sa iyo at makapadago rin sa amin spiritually. Panginoon ka po magbigay ng wisdom kay Miss Amy sa pagtuturo niya po today. Pinapanalangin ko po na yung gamit niya po gadgets ngayon. Kaya kayanin na matapos po itong course na ito. Makapagpatuturo po siya ng ayos na hindi ko sana maputol kung ito laloobin. Puri kapatid po namin na yung kapatid mo ni Kuya Ian ay natanggap na po sa trabaho. Ito ay isang malaking blessing po sa kanya. Pagkat lalo na po sa panahon ng pandemya ito ay mas matindi po mga pangangailangan ng mga tao sa mga basic needs. Lapit na namin ko rin po si Atty. Egypt. Patuloy na siyang pagalingin. Makahingan siya ng ayos. Wala na yung lapit niya. Sa lalong madaling panahon ay makarecover po siya sa COVID. Ito pang aming mga panalangin sa pangalan po ng Jesus. Amen.
Okay, so today, one of my questions is, have you guys already gotten your syllabus or not yet? Meron? Sige. Wala pa. Para kay Philip. Sige. So if you guys can look, today we're going to talk about, what's that called? Diminished 7 leading tone, secondary leading tone chords. So that would be, let's see. What I need to figure out is, I'm going to put, let's see, 2 of you in the waiting room because we're going to talk about homework. And then we'll go back to being in the group just a minute. So if you end up in the waiting room, don't get scared. And then you guys they'll be back in just a minute. But let's see. Let's go over here. I don't know why this isn't working. Let's try this. Nope, it won't let me share it. Oh. Okay, can you see the example one? The diminished 7 chords or not really? That one. Okay, great. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the part writing first. So in general, you guys did great on the part writing. I'm actually happy with how it's going. I feel like your part writing has improved a lot since last semester. So I know that in class, I usually focus on the things that you guys do wrong because we're trying to fix them. But just so you know, you have my vote of confidence. You guys are making progress in your part writing. I don't know if it's, I know doing it on the computer, if you can hear it better or if you see it better or what, but it is improving. So I would just say, first of all, let's just look. There were a couple of tricky places in the example I gave you, but for most of you, it was okay. Right here, what do you think could be the problem in this example? Actually, the person got the part writing part of it's okay. There's another problem with it though. So if you
Chords wrong?
the what?
Are the chords wrong?
Maybe. It's actually, most of it's okay. It's just one that has a problem. So if you see what the problem is, you can unmute. Let's see. We're in F major, so there's one flat, but that shouldn't really influence that much. Okay, let's see. Let's go chord by chord. Ian, is the first chord correct?
Yes po, yes po.
Okay, Daniel, is the second chord correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so the person can either double the third or the fifth, right? The trick is not to double the root because that's the note that's changed, okay? Unlike a normal 5, well, yeah, well, even 5, 6, right? We have to be careful with that. Okay, let's see. Jennifer, what about the third chord? Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay, so the question remains. There's only one chord left. What's wrong with it? Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Ian.
I don't know po. It seems right naman po. Is it 1, 4, 3, right?
It's a 1, 4, 3, but it's not a 5 or 4. What?
Oh, yeah.
How does it need to be changed to make it a 5 or 4?
Yung ano po, yung
E
wait,
flat.
E flat.
Yes. Okay. So right now what we have is a beautiful leading tone on the top.
Yes. Dapat minor 7 siya.
Yes. Okay. So it was just that one simple note that's all that needed to be changed to make that right. Okay. So it's not, the mistakes I'm seeing in your homeworks aren't like big, like, Wow, I can't believe they did that. It's more like little details like that, okay? So I'll deduct points for that, but I think pretty much everyone that turned in their part writing homework got more than a 90. So I know this is not life or death. Okay, there was this one here, same thing. We have a little bit of a problem, but it's only on one chord, okay? So Daniel, can you tell me what you think, which chord might be the one that has the problem and how we could fix it?
Yung diminished 4/6 dapat F sharp.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so if we're in F major, this is a B flat, right? And it needs to be a half step away from the next scale degree, right? So instead of having a B flat, we just need a B natural. Yeah, good. Okay, that's all it needs to fix it, right? It just needs to be diminished instead of just a regular 4/6. Okay. Let's see, last one. This one again, not a big problem, right? Just a little one, but we need to figure out how we can get around it maybe a little bit more gracefully. Jennifer, how can you tell me how this set of chords could be doubled differently so that it would be a little bit easier maybe for the voice parts? Think of the third and the fourth chord. How could we double it a little bit differently?
Well, we could double the fifth so that the C goes. No. I don't know. Yeah. Could, I think. Instead of doubling the F, double the C and put one C up top.
Then we would have parallel fifth,
Oh yeah.
parallel octave. Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe let's just back up a chord and see if we could do something with a 4 that could be different. Okay, Ian or Daniel, you're allowed to say something. Huh? Okay, so on this 4 chord, how could we double it a little bit differently to kind of get away from this thing right here, having all this jumping going on?
E natural dapat siya. Stinky at B flat.
Put E natural in the alto. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a fully diminished chord, right? It's a 7 of 5. So we can't really change that because let's see, we're in F major, right? Or no, not F major, sorry, we're in B flat major. Yeah, that should be an E natural, you're right. Pero is there another way that we could double the chord?
Double the third.
Double the 7th? Huh?
Third.
A third, okay. So if we put this B here on the G, then we can go to this and it would be stepwise motion. Or we could even put the A there. Well, no, we couldn't. That would be the simplest way to get around this. Yeah, I think going to the G, then this would be stepwise motion. But then over here, we probably want to go somewhere else so that not all the parts are going up. But we have this common tone, so it's kind of okay. But anyways, okay. So
Miss
that's
Amy, sorry.
yeah.
The diminish isn't E sharp correct po kasi it's the 4. So if we want to fully diminish it, you raise the tonic. of the 4?
Right. But if you think about it, if we're in B flat major, then what is the fourth scale or the fifth scale degree or whatever? Fourth. Yeah.
Yes, it's E flat lang pala. Okay po, okay po.
So
Thank
it's
you.
just, if you just change it to the E natural, then we're good to go, right? That's already raising it. Okay, I think I'm gonna not sure how to do this exactly. Okay, we're gonna put Philip back in and we're gonna talk about the other part of our homework quickly. So last thing, the analysis. So it feels like you guys are a little bit rusty on this. I would say, can you just look at this chord for me right here, where it says 1 and then it says 1, 7. What's wrong with that? So it is the 7th chord, but yes?
1, 4, 2, dapat siya. Third.
Right. So when the 7 comes in, you can't just mark it as a 1, 7 because it's in the bass, right? So what note is in the bass determines what inversion it is, okay? So with a number of you, when you saw that note coming in, that 7th, then your first impression was just to write 7 next to the Roman numeral, which it's like you get what the chord is, so that's fine, but that's not really the inversion, so I have to mark it as wrong, right? So just watch out for that. Otherwise, I mean, there were a few inaccuracies here and there, but in general, you guys did okay. Just watch out for that. Some of you, when you did your analysis, that was really the biggest thing that I took points off for, okay? Sige, let's move on. I'm gonna stop share for just a minute. Okay, so today we're gonna do a really short dictation. Do you guys have your MuseScore available and ready, or a piece of paper? So you can just write it on a piece of paper if you want. Yeah, it's fine. As long as you can kind of show it to us and when I ask you as we go along. I'm hoping this dictation takes like 5 minutes. It should be pretty simple, straightforward. So on the first dictation, I would like for you to just focus on getting the bass notes. And then once you have the bass notes, you can fill in the soprano and start writing Roman numerals. I want to, the Roman numerals are more important to me than the inner voices. The inner voices should help you to write the Roman numerals, but we need to, for our class, what we're trying to focus on is hearing the quality of the chord and being able to put a name on the quality, okay? So, the F is in the soprano. Okay, ready? 1, 2, ready, right.
Hello, Miss Amy.
Yes?
Sorry po, out muna po ako saglit. There's something po na mabilis lang po ako. Little bit of emergency lang.
Sige.
Okay, pasensya na po.
Sige. Okay. Okay, so do you have your pen and paper? Or I should say pencil and paper. Okay, let's hear it one more time. Ready? Ready? And. Okay, are you ready for one more dictation? How's it going so far? Do you have the bass notes? Medyo. Okay. So when you lose track of the bass, try to fill in the soprano notes. Okay, let's do this. If you're writing on a piece of paper, can you guys, let's see, Angel, are you writing on a piece of paper or a MuseScore? Paper. Okay, can you just hold it up to the camera real quick? Uh-huh. Good. Okay, so I'm seeing some notes on the top. Yeah. Da, da, dum. Okay. Looks like you're missing some bass notes. Okay. Okay, let's see. Jennifer, can you show me what you have? Uh-huh. Okay, good. You got the bass. Now you just need to figure out the soprano line and put in the chords. Okay, Dan, can you show me what you have? You can share your screen if you're doing it on MuseScore. If you're doing it on paper, you can just show the paper. Uh-huh. Almost. You have a chord there that's not quite right. You almost have it though. Malapit na. Sige, thank you. You can stop share. Okay. And then let's see. Ian, you haven't had time to look at it. Philip, do you have a MuseScore that you can share with us? Yan. Almost, almost. The bass notes. There's one bass note that's not quite right. And there's a couple Roman numerals that aren't right. 3 Roman numerals that aren't right. And 1 soprano note. Okay, good. You guys have a good start. For 2 or 3 dictations, you're doing good. Let's try this again. Wait lang. Sorry, pasensya. Okay, if you're not finished yet, I'm gonna give you one more dictation and then we'll, call it quits with whatever you have. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen wherever you are. You can kind of check what you did against what I have. So this is it. So if you look in the base, we have this descending thirds, and then right here we have a 1, 6, 4, right? And then a 5, 7, and a 1. It's actually pretty simple, straightforward. This is a nice progression that's not complicated. But I hope that you could hear the change in chords. Notice how you have 2 tonic chords, then 2 predominant chords, then 2 dominant chords, and then the tonic for 2 beats at the end. Do you see that? So it's very nicely balanced. Okay, so Sana, that was a good exercise for your ear. So if you can get out your notes, if you have them available, we're going to talk about fully diminished leading tone 7 chords. I should say secondary leading tone 7 chords. And what their characteristics are. So we already talked a little bit about the diminished triad. Now, the 7 chord, the leading tone 7 chord has 2 varieties. Let's see, Philip, what is one kind of diminished 7 or leading tone chord?
Sorry, can you repeat it again, Sim?
So there are 2 kinds of diminished leading tone 7 chords. So what can you name one kind?
Half diminished.
Again, sorry.
Half diminished.
It's half diminished. Good. Okay. Let's see, Angel. Do you know what the other kind is? And we're getting a blank look. Okay, so if half diminished is one kind of 7 chord, then what's the other kind? Fully diminished. Okay, good. Good for you, Angel. So, Sana, everyone's engaged in our class today. Okay, so today we're going to talk about fully diminished leading tone 7 chords that can be put on other places, secondary leading tone chords. And one thing that's characteristic of leading tone chords is that they usually go to the next scale degree, right? Because that half step distance between the root of the chord and the next chord acts like a pointer that wants to be resolved to the next tone, right? What kind of chord does the 7 chord substitute for sometimes? Or a lot of times? Let's see, Ian, can you think, what chord could the 7 chord substitute?
The dominant function.
The dominant function, but what chord? What particular?
The 5.
The 5. Okay, so if you think about it, the 5/7 chord has 3 notes that are in common with the 7 chord, right? Even if it's just the triad, right? The 7's only a triad, it still has 3 notes in common with the 5/7. So in a lot of cases, it acts as a substitute, and what we'll see throughout our examples today is that many times the 7 chord can be the first one, and then it leads us to the 5/7, or it can lead to the secondary dominant. They kind of act as kapalit, like they can kind of substitute for each other. Another thing that the secondary leading tone chord has, if it's fully diminished, is if you put one fully diminished 7 chord next to another one that are different scale degrees, you won't have any parallel octaves or fifths or anything that's a problem. And so sometimes what composers like to do is kind of put them in a row to create a cool kind of sound. So they wouldn't, in that case, they're not necessarily acting as a function leading to another chord. It's more like just kind of adding tension or creating a texture in the sound. Let's see. They're more common in major than they are in minor. You'll see all those things in the handout if you'll read over that. And let's see, am I forgetting anything? Maybe I'll just show you some examples, and as we go along, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so the fully diminished 7 chord has 2 sensitive notes. It has the root that's raised, if it's not already a half step away from the next scale degree. And then you have the 7th, which goes in what direction? Down. Very good. Okay, so the 7 should go down and the root should come up. So that's its tendencies of how it's going to resolve. So let's look at this example right here. We're in C sharp minor. Sorry. And then it goes back to 1, right? So, yeah, not my favorite key to play piano in. Anyways, so we can see right off the top that we have a number of diminished chords. So let's look, measure 80, second eighth note. Let's see, Jennifer, what chord is this?
That would be I would say a fully diminished 5/7.
5/7. If we're in C major, C sharp minor, I should say, sorry. C sharp minor.
Oh, just 5. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't think there's this. Wait, I'm getting confused because I can't see the.
Sorry. I forgot to tell you that the bottom line is actually in treble clef. I should have put that there. Sorry.
That makes more sense.
Sorry, guys. I just assume you can read my mind. Joke.
Okay. So we've got G E G B D. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So that would be a fully diminished 3/7.
Yes. Okay, good. Daniel, what is this chord right here that it resolves to if the bottom part is in treble clef?
It resolves to A minor.
So this is, if you think this part is in treble clef, then what note is this right here? Oh no, is Daniel gone? Oh no, Daniel, don't be gone. So this is, if this is an F sharp, right? This note right here, then what chord is this? We're in C sharp minor. I wonder if he's having trouble with his internet. Ian, can you just say something?
That's the 4.
Ah. Oh no.
Is he alive na po? Dan, alive ka na? Poor connection.
Yeah, I think so. Can you just say it, Ian?
4 po yung 4.
Yes. Okay, so what we're seeing is we have this 3 fully diminished chord that goes to the next scale degree, which is the 4. Okay, let's try another one. This one right here. Philip, can you tell me if this is treble clef, what's this chord right here?
major 4, ay, no. Diminish 4, 7.
Mm-hmm. What kind of diminished is it?
Um, half diminished.
Half diminished. Okay, between the F double sharp and the E, uh-huh. What does
Fully diminished.
fully diminished? Okay, good. So this is a fully diminished 4, and then where does it lead us? What's this chord right here, Angel?
5 po.
Yes, okay, so it led us to the next scale degree. Now, sometimes when you see a 4-7 that's fully diminished, it will lead you to the 1-6 instead of going to the 5. That happens sometimes, but usually it just goes to the next scale degree. So here you can kind of see there's some fun chords in here. In between, there's also some secondary dominants. But that's really the main idea, is when we get that diminished sound, that fully diminished 7 chord, it really is like a pointer pointing us to the next scale degree. Let's see. Yes, you have a question, Ian.
Regarding po sa progression, so it
Mhm.
means po if you make a chord fully diminished, you can just go to the another scale, right? Kasi before, without yung sa theory 1 and theory 2, we learn about the universe. So we can determine what's the progression po. So it means if I have a one, uh, 1 and then 3 should go to 4, right? Or 6 should go to somewhere else. So it's practically speaking, I can, ano po yung just do ano pa tawag dito? Ano ba yung mga progression natin? Let's say 1 to minor 2. Minor 2 should go to dominant 5, right po? Kung sa progression. So if I made minor 2 a diminished 2, I can go right away sa 3.
Right, so here's the thing. When we change it to be fully diminished, what we're doing is making it into a kind of like a secondary dominant. But instead we would say secondary leading tone chord. So in a way, the function of the chord kind of changes than what it would normally be in the wide or universal context of the key signature. Kind of like what we do with secondary dominants, right? So yeah, the 1 usually goes to the 4, but when it becomes a secondary dominant, then all of a sudden that connection between the chord changes in some way to be a different kind of magnetization somehow. Does that make sense? Not really. I just lost you.
It makes sense naman po, okay lang po. So I'm just asking if okay pa rin po ba yung ganun?
So
I mean, in a sense of progression po.
right. If you look on the notes, it says, wait, you know what? Maybe I can just share it if I can find, oh no, it's gone. Never mind, my computer's being moody today. I think we won't provoke it. So the point is that there are certain chords that are usually fully diminished and some chords that not so much. And you'll see that in major there are certain chords in a minor that tend to be fully diminished. Not all of the scale degrees are equally in fully diminished, are used as fully diminished secondary leading tone chords. But you can read that on the notes. Okay. So basically what I'm trying to say is that in a sense what you're saying is true, that you can kind of circumvent the normal progression of chords, but not completely. There are still some boundaries to that. And if you look on literature, there are certain patterns of how they use secondary leading tone chords. So that's why it says what it says on the notes.
So could we think about it like it has to be used in a certain context or like with a certain purpose or goal in mind? You can't just start a progression and then instantly want to in order to bypass normal progressions, do that. It has to be for a certain effect or purpose.
Right, exactly. Okay, let me show you another. I think if we look at some examples that will kind of help it be more clear, Sana. This one is more like just using diminished chords one after another for the sake of effect. I'm gonna play the recording for you because I can't really sight read this one very well. Okay, Sana, you can hear it, okay. Okay, could you hear it? Sorry. I don't know how much you could hear it. It's really quiet. Sorry for that. But do you hear how it went da 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 da? It's just basically a sequence, but it didn't actually go anywhere. He just kind of left it hanging, and then he went back to his actual piece. So it's more like there for the sake of effect, I guess you could say, somehow. Does that make sense? It's to kind of create tension before we get back to the beginning of the piece again right here. But that's more, notice that the composers that we're looking at are later. So we looked at Haydn, that was one of his more extreme pieces. That was Chopin, which he's romantic, and we're about to look at another composer that's romantic. Okay, let me play a little bit of this clip. For some reason, these secondary leading tone chords like to be in 4 sharps, but I don't really like them to be that way, but that's the case. Sorry. So you can see we have some interesting chords going on here, but let's just focus in for right now on this chord right here that's on the fortepiano that he's emphasizing here near the cadence. Let's see. Dan, let's see if we can get you to work again if your internet will hold out. Can you tell me what this chord is right here?
Is that only
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you say it louder?
fully diminished for diminished for 3.
Okay, so in this case, there's a common progression where you stay on the tonic and the bass as kind of a pedal tone, and then you go to the 4/6/4. And he's doing that, only he's adding in a twist of making it fully diminished. And then he goes back to the tonic. Let's see. Like that, right? Sorry. Where does the 4, where should it usually go?
Dominant, like a 5.
So the 4 should go to the 5, especially if it's fully diminished, it should go to the next scale degree. But what do you notice about the way that the right hand is stacked? If we were just playing the right hand, what inversion would we be going to from the 4-3? What note would be the bottom note if we're just looking at the right hand? Ian.
Help.
Okay, so here we are on the forte piano, right? This was a 4-4-3 fully diminished secondary leading tone chord. If you look, it resolves to a 1. It should go to a 5. But if you're looking just at the right hand, what inversion would this one be?
It's it. Wait lang. It's a 5 without the right hand.
5 without the right hand. We're in E.
I'm sorry.
major.
Without. What's the question again? Without the right hand, when I.
No, with the right hand, without the left hand.
With the right, it's a 5 chord po.
5 chord. We're
Yes,
in E major.
1 chord. Sorry.
Okay,
sorry.
good.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
a
sorry.
1 chord. Now, what inversion would it be in if you weren't looking at the left hand?
It's in the second inversion.
A 1-6-4. Okay, so
6-4.
what does 1-6-4 have in common with 5?
They have the same function, dominant function. po.
They're both dominant. They both have the same bass note. Okay, so do you see what he's doing? Even though we have this tonic pedal tone, we still feel like it's okay to resolve there because it's like we're going to the kapalit of the 5-7. Does that make sense? Sorry. And then he goes on and does other stuff. That's very clever. Okay, we're gonna have to stop there because we're already over time. What I want you to do for your homework is do exercise number 2. We're not gonna get into the secondary leading tone 7 chords fully diminished for your homework. You're just gonna do the leading tone triads again because we weren't able to finish this PowerPoint. Sana, next time we'll get to that. Do you guys have any questions before we finish our class?
Where is exercise 2? Is it?
It should be in your combined syllabus near the back. If you don't have a syllabus yet, you can go on to the Google Classroom. It should be under resources. I posted it. So it's exercise number 2 for part writing. Okay? And that's due for tomorrow. I'll post it. I haven't posted it yet on Google Classroom. I'll post it right now. Okay? Or on my app, probably. We're good? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Sana, next week my computer will work properly.
Miss Amy, wait lang po. Huwag niyo muna- Ako lang po may tanong. So, if the
Sige.
class is already